The Flowering of Rebellion, a journey through the 1960s hippie movement. The 1960s were a decade of profound societal upheaval and cultural transformation, characterized by the emergence of the hippie movement. Born out of a desire to challenge the status quo and embrace a more liberated way of life, hippies became synonymous with countercultural ideals, activism, and a rejection of mainstream norms. This narrative explores the essence of the hippie movement, highlighting its leaders, protests against the Vietnam War and the draft, the use of drugs, the significance of concerts and music, and the overarching pursuit of peace. The rise of the hippie movement in the early 1960s, a wave of disillusionment swept across America, fueled by growing opposition to the Vietnam War and discontent with the conservative values of the preceding decade. Against this backdrop, a new generation of young people sought alternatives to the prevailing cultural norms. Rejecting materialism and conformity, they gravitated towards communal living, experimentation with drugs, and a fervent belief in peace and love. Other notable figures include Ken Kesey, author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, who organized the infamous acid tests, gatherings where participants consumed LSD and engaged in collective experiences of transcendence. Similarly, musicians like Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, and the Beatles became icons of the movement, using their platform to spread messages of peace, love, and social change. Protests against the Vietnam War and the draft, central to the ethos of the hippie movement, was a fervent opposition to the Vietnam War. As the conflict escalated, young people across America mobilized in unprecedented numbers to protest against what they perceived as an unjust and imperialistic war. Draft resistance became a prominent form of protest, with many young men refusing to serve in the military and risking imprisonment to express their dissent. The use of drugs, drug experimentation, was widespread within the hippie movement, with substances like marijuana, LSD, and psilocybin playing a central role in shaping the countercultural experience. For many, psychedelics were not just recreational drugs, but powerful tools for self-exploration and consciousness expansion. However, the widespread use of drugs also led to concerns about addiction, mental health issues, and the potential for exploitation by criminal elements. Concerts. Music was the heartbeat of the hippie movement, providing a soundtrack for social change and a means of collective expression. Concerts and music festivals served as gathering points for like-minded individuals, fostering a sense of community and camaraderie. From the folk anthems of Bob Dylan to the psychedelic rock of the Grateful Dead, music became a powerful medium for conveying messages of protest, love, and spiritual awakening. The pursuit of peace. At its core, the hippie movement was driven by a profound yearning for peace, both on a personal and global scale. Rejecting the violence and militarism of the era, hippies embraced nonviolent resistance, communal living, and spiritual enlightenment as pathways to a more harmonious world. While the movement may have faded with the passing of the decade, its legacy endures as a reminder of the power of collective action, cultural rebellion, and the enduring quest for peace and social justice. In conclusion, the 1960s hippie movement was a vibrant tapestry of rebellion, activism, and cultural experimentation. From protests against the Vietnam War to the embrace of drugs and music, hippies challenged the prevailing social order and championed a vision of peace, love, and communal harmony. Though the movement may have faded, its spirit continues to inspire generations of activists and dreamers in their quest for a more just and compassionate world.